Hi guys, George here, Brighton Fan TV, taking you through my thoughts on today's game against Huddersfield. I'll try and keep it PG, clean, just in case any younger viewers are listening to my thoughts on the atrocities of today. As soon as the team sheet came out, it was completely different. Schletto starting really threw me. I mean, he's a right back traditionally, but he can play right wing back. But I don't know why a game like today we were looking for defensive options. Today should have been a go and get them game. Knockout didn't start. I mean, I don't know the reason why, but he was apparently at a funeral. So I mean, you've got to cut him some slack on that front. But I don't know why we're paying all that money for Izquierdo and starting Schletto instead. I really don't. And if it's for resting players, then the pros and cons can be weighed up on that later. March being on the bench as well was bizarre. We have so many wing options. I don't know why we were playing a right wing back in Schletto. That's aside from his performance. That completely aside. Gross looked tired today as well. If anyone needed a rest, it was probably Gross. I mean, he started every game for us this season. And he is relied upon heavily. And he's looked tired the last 3 games. He really has. If anyone needed to be benched, it was probably Gross. Although I'll probably get onto the benching options later. What happened with that first goal? Set pieces, classic Brighton. What happened on the back post? Just no marking again. Like, okay, if we might not be man marking, we might be zonal marking, but who had back post? A lot of the blame has been laid upon Bruno, but it was a terrible goal, and it was just shocking. He didn't even get a good connection on it. It rolled into the goal. Really sloppy passing, especially in the midfield again. I'm calling out Dale Stephens on it. Some of those passes were just shocking. Not even loose balls, poor touches. I'd rather if we just take a touch, then think about it. Just holding on to the possession. I mean, in that first half alone, we had 66% passing accuracy. I mean, what's that about? 6 out of 10 passes are making it. And it was those other 4 out of 10 passes that just weren't making it that were costing us, really costing us. We were being punished for it. In that first half, we had 1 shot on target. No, I lie. It wasn't even a shot on target. We had 1 shot and it wasn't on target. We didn't have a shot on target till the 79th minute. It was a shambles out there. Only thing I can say is that Proper is really coming into his own. He had a touch of class about him, but it was falling apart everywhere. It was like a house on fire. The second goal was exceptionally bad. Another set piece, and it wasn't even a good set piece. That was the thing. It went well over. And Dunk should have been challenging for it. Dunk was 50-50. And he didn't. If he'd slid, if he'd even put the gas on a little bit more, you should be challenging for that ball. And it came back in, and Ryan should have saved it as well. I do love Matt Ryan, but you should be getting to that. And again, he was in 2 minds about whether he was catching it or whether he was blocking it, and it was painful. It's a painful goal. We made Ince and Mooney look like Pogba and Lukaku today. It was shocking. Unfortunately, Gareth Southgate was watching, so it probably doesn't put Dunk in good stead, does it? But Tom Ince was playing like he wanted that shirt. It's just it was embarrassing. That's the word for it today. It was embarrassing. It was our worst performance of the season, and it was embarrassing losing to Huddersfield. It really was. The second half, Schletto went. I think that says a lot that Schletto was taken off after 45 minutes. Houghton's obviously had a massive panic about it. Solly March on. I'd be surprised if we saw Schletto starting again this season. I really would. He didn't put a good account of himself in today. We might see him as a sub here and there, but I think we'll see a lot less of him from now on. As soon as March came on, though, he made an impact. He did. It was a minor impact, but he did make an impact. The pace really paid off on the wings. And he looked like he could make a difference. Not that it did change anything. Murray was holding up again. Murray was holding up the ball, and there's just no one around him. You look up and there's really very little options, especially in terms of the fast options. By the time Murray's held it up, Huddersfield are back behind the ball again. And when we do go on the attack, we're having to commit so many men forward to try and make something of it. I mean, Stevens, Propper's coming up, both wingers, Gross, Murray. And then on the counter-attack, they're just ripping us apart. There's no one getting back. There really is no one getting back. And it looked a shambles at times. It really did. Izquierdo and Hemed both came on late. I'd rather have seen Baldock than Hemed, just to make a little bit... Baldock's got a little bit more pace than Hemed. And I'd rather have seen Baldock make a really good go of it than Hemed. Hemed, again, he's not the paciest, but if it's in front of him, he'll put it away. But I'd rather have seen Baldock come back off injury when you're 2-0 down and put an absolute shift in. And that just didn't happen. Izquierdo came on, and hallelujah, we had our first shot of the game on target. It took us till the 79th minute for a shot on target from Izquierdo, and even then it was not a challenging shot whatsoever. It was straight to keeper. I mean, what was going on? It looked like no one was up for it today. I mean, it was all a bit lacklustre and tired, but not. I don't get the tired thing. I don't think that's an excuse for the whole team. It just looked really lacklustre today. So if we are going by the tactic of resting players, I'd rather us have rested our players at a later date. Put out our strongest team today. Huddersfield was that was a winnable game, or should have been a winnable game on paper, and we went with a rested team today of sorts. I'd rather have seen us rest minor characters today and put out a experimental team against Spurs. I mean, realistically, especially with the result that Spurs got today of 5-1 turning over Stoke, you've got to assume we're going to get turned over next week. I'd rather us put out an experimental team on Wednesday against Spurs and put out our strongest team today against Huddersfield in a winnable game. That was a very winnable game. And it just didn't work today. It just really didn't work. That's 5 games without a win now that we've got on the trot. And if I'm honest, the games that we've got coming up are exceptionally hard. We've got Spurs away, Burnley at home, who won again today. We've got Watford, who have been performing well. And we've got Chelsea. We've got 4 games that quite easily we could get no points out of, and you can't really complain. It really is getting to that crunch time. We're only 4 points off safety. 4 points off safety, and we're at the stage now where we're hoping that other people lose so that we're not moving further down the table. And it's that reliance on other people's results again. It seems like it's Brighton all over, is that we perform well for a time and then we take a foot off the pedal, and then we're relying on everyone else to screw up so that we can sort of limp our way through. And today was just really disheartening. There were people around me that were saying, look, is this the point where the wheels have come off our season? Is this where we've had our run? And I know people are going to moan and say it's only December, but this is really key. And I've seen people today moaning about the result, really moaning about the result, and moaning that we're only 4 points off safety. And I said this ages ago. During the Southampton draw, the Stoke draw, I said these are games that we should be winning. These are the games where we need to make up these points, otherwise we're looking at relegation zone. And the same people that criticise me are the people that are now going, oh God, hang on, I think we might end up in the relegation zone here. This was a must-win game. It's only now that we're sort of slowly going down the table, people are starting to think that we should have got the points in those previous games. And I got heavily criticised for it, I really did. We're now looking at going to Spurs on Wednesday, who are banging form. If a couple of weeks ago Spurs were in a bit of a rough patch, I mean, we might have had I would have genuinely thought we had a chance of getting a point. I think we'd be lucky if we get a point on Wednesday. I think we'd be lucky if we can keep it to, I mean, if we could do better than Stoke did today, losing 5-1, that's a bit of a bonus. At the moment, for the next 4 games, it looks like damage limitation more than anything. Especially if we're going to play the way that we played today. It was the worst we've played, and it put me in a terrible mood. Absolutely terrible mood. It's the worst worst mood Brighton have put me in this year so far. And people thought I was moaning at the Southampton game. This was a new level. I mean, we've got a hope that Wednesday we can pull something. I mean, hope beyond hope that we could pull something off. If West Ham could beat Chelsea today, then, you know, we could try and pull off a surprise. But I would be ecstatic with a point. I mean, I'd be pretty pleased with anything under a 2-goal loss. But I guess it's on to the next one. I hope we learn from today. Today should be a learning experience for something that didn't work, because it just didn't work. Every department today did not work. Highlighting all the classic problems again. Wayward passing, the lack of a lightning strike force. The effort disappeared today. Like the mood, where's the go and get it? It disappeared, and I do fear for Wednesday. I really fear for Wednesday. This has been George for Brighton Fan TV, and we'll see you in the week.